Hey,
Welcome to another screen recording from Group C of Year 13 to 14, Northwest Kent Music Technology. We're talking about what's known as the Walrus Challenge, or
the ad brief.
T5.2, the ad brief. We were set the challenge to record along with all of the other groups the same song, basically, and that's part of the challenge is that whoever came out with the best sound-alike to what that song was won the challenge. The idea of this exercise is to create a sound alike as if it was being produced for an advertiser. Because what often happens in adverts is that you'll hear a song that sounds a lot like the song it's meant to sound like, but it isn't, because they either couldn't afford the rights from the record label, or they got told to go somewhere else.
Quite often it's a lot cheaper doing it. That's why they
and they often do go somewhere else. They ask the musician themselves, who have the writing rights, right? Is it the creative rights to it? No.
They shouldn't need, so long as the song is slightly different to the original, they're allowed to use it. Yeah. So long as they can prove that it's not the same song. Anyway, yeah, that's a bit going off on a tangent. We digress.
We do. As you can see, a lot went into this. We're actually looking at around 60 channels.
I don't even know.
If you're trimming fat, there's a few muted parts and whatnot.
Yeah.
But essentially, you're looking at all of the parts that went into our sound alike for this song, Give Life Back to Music by Daft Punk, from their recent album Random Access Memories.
Yep. So right, well, we'll talk about how we went about with the recordings of whatever instruments we used.
First of all, we did an analysis.
Oh yeah, we might still have that,
the
actually.
Name of our range file. We basically made notes on Logic of all the instrumentation, essentially, and maybe how we would execute the production of the instrumentation to make it sound like the original.
Well, that's how we began anyway, and then we went about the drums.
Shortly after finding the beats per minute, which is pretty damn precise. If you look,
just look down here. This is our
look at that one right there.
So this
got
is
there
our,
in the end.
This is our drum recordings here. We've color coded each just for our own benefit, so that we can distinguish each more easily when we were going about the process. Red is for kick drum, blue snare, etc., etc., etc.
Just previous to recording the drums, we were presented with a sub mic, which we later found out was also used in the recording of the kick drum for this song. Sub mic is more or less a speaker, as reversed to be used as a microphone.
So it's just
the wideness of the speaker simulates the a very wide diaphragm to pick up those.
Obviously, the wider the diaphragm, the lower the frequencies it can pick up.
Yeah,
and sub frequencies. So we went about with the recordings.
Should we just go down the track?
Just keep scrolling through.
One thing that we could have paid a little bit more attention to is the final product of the equalization. We neglected the use of an EQ meter. It's an EQ multimeter, and it what it basically does is it gives you a visualization of get one. It gives you a visualization of all of the EQ readings, and we could have used that and compared it to the equalization of the original track, but we didn't in the end, and we ended up having cymbals that were too high in the mix, and the EQ of the cymbals themselves were too high-end heavy, even for cymbals.
We had quite a strange thing that we didn't notice until after we'd sort of finalised our project, which was that the hat mic was picking up the rest of the cymbals quite heavily during recordings, and we didn't notice it, and we thought, the hi-hat's a bit quiet, let's turn that up. Turned it up to a bit louder, and the actual cymbals became then too loud for the whole track, simply because we turned the hi-hat up, which was unfortunate, but we worked around it. So then we utilised the audio to score trigger method for the snare, because in the original there is a group clap that goes along with the snare all the way through. The reason we did it with audio to score is simply because we didn't want the claps to just be out of time with the snare. And recording along to a snare track, things can go wrong, as we found out. So that's the drums. We did bass next. So bass there was pretty standard. A couple of takes, and we added the guitar. The guitar. The guitar. I say the guitar. I should say the guitars. In the intro alone, I mean, like you can see, there are six different tracks of guitars, and it took us quite a while to record them all in, listen to them, make sure that they were all right, and sort them out. Interestingly enough, there was a little riff that we picked up on that wasn't played when we first did the recording. It was I think it's this one here, is it? Yeah, arguably it could have been a slap bass note, but we just thought it sounded like a very sharp twang of a guitar string, so we added that in. Yeah, that's there somewhere. Somewhere in this is that. So that's the guitar. I mean, we can show you some of the things. I imagine it's right at the bottom, because it's probably one of the last things we did. 44 maybe, audio 44. Yeah, perhaps. Either way. We added that in. With the EQ on the guitars, it took us a little while. With the verses, we fiddled around quite a lot. I mean, you can see it's quite severe boosting of the guitars in areas. This was because after comparison between our track and the original track, we did notice quite a big difference in the sound of the guitars. Not to mention just general volume. Yeah. So that's all equalization essentially is at the end of the day. It's just boosting volume of certain frequencies. That's sort of what we did for the guitars. We've got all of the standard things on there. Oh, there's an enveloper. There is an enveloper, which is a bit fun to use. But we won't go into that right now. No. We've got a lot of things to cover. Just for recording techniques, we DI'd the clean guitar straight into the desk. Obviously, for the more electric guitar, we used a rectifier preamp by Messer for the tapping parts and
slightly louder ones.
Yeah, lots of guitars. I only just realised how many there actually are.
Yeah.
Oh, the vocoder.
Ah, yes.
You had some fun with the vocoder.
Lots of fun, lots of trouble, lots of danger.
So the vocoder is basically we recorded it. Did we record it through? What did we record it through? We just DI'd it, didn't we? The vocoder.
The vocoder. I mean, technically, what was used isn't a vocoder. I mean, it's usually a vocoder. Typically is used with a Korg or a synth. But this was a guitar-controlled, modulated effects pedal that was run through a filter, and the notes of the guitar controlled the vocal signal. Very impressive. It was a pleasure to watch and record. But yeah, let's have a little listen.
Should I just solo it? I'll just play it with this whole track.
Let the music tonight, just turn on music, let the music of your life, give her back to music, let the music tonight, just turn on music, let the music of your life, give her back to music, let the music.
Yeah. In retrospect, a vocoder with a Korg probably would have been closer to the original sound, but we enjoyed this, and you can see these how many different parts went into it. Just that simple, repetitive.
There are 4 parts just to that one. So like there are actually four vocals going into that.
We noticed shortly after recording that there was a progression in this singing. Unfortunately, the settings on these pedals that we used, they had all been, I guess, sort of taken apart and whatnot. So we had to employ the use of Melodyne to make sure that the progression was accurate.
So it was for
was that something we noticed that the other groups didn't?
Yeah, that was. I don't think any of the other groups put that in their tracks.
That was one thing that we did spot.
Yeah, so it's just, I mean, all it was the difference between this
Give her back to music
and this.
Give her back to music.
That's it.
Before we fiddled around with them on Melodyne, they were exactly the same.
Yeah, they were all the same note all the way through. In fact, that you get this verse quite a lot throughout the
as you can
the song.
You can see. But yeah, that's the vocoder.
What's next? These are just MIDI instruments. But there a lot of them in the intro, both piano and electric piano.
Yeah, we've got. I mean, the original piano's up here that we've got, and the electric piano is these ones here. Yeah, it's just things that we heard in the mix and put in. We also had a triangle. Was this the triangle? I think this was the triangle. Just a triangle.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
It's just
it goes all the way through. We wanted to just like the original. We wanted to get an organic triangle and same as the chimes that you also hear in the mix. Eventually, we ran out of time, so we just used a MIDI triangle.
Yeah. One of the funnest moments in this project for me, especially, was when we were creating the crowd noises. Yes.
We noticed that a lot of the other groups were using a pre-recorded length of
sort of
chatter,
party noise,
and party noise. So we did a bit of both. We got a little bit of ambient background noise, and we added some of our own because we noticed tiny bits of speech tiny bits of English
Yeah.
actually from the party noises, and we thought we'd just recreate them.
I'll just quickly play. I'll solo them and just play them so that you can hear what we were doing with them.
What were we doing with them?
Yeah, boy, yeah.
Yeah, boy, yeah. Yep.
It doesn't sound like much, but when you play it with the whole track, it does come into. As you hear it does sound quite realistic.
This is where the recording project became a little bit more light-hearted, and we'd finished everything else. So
Yeah.
we thought, why not?
Well, it's an important part of the track still, and we wanted to make it as close to the original as possible.
Yeah.
So we heard it, we put it in. Yeah.
Well, there we go. Essentially, did that compression.
You want to look at some compression?
Did we talk about compression?
Oh, for this one?
For all of it.
I don't think we've spoken about it here.
The thing is, with this particular track, we didn't really want to compress too much of any of it.
No.
Because it's a very the entire album they used quite a lot of old techniques, and the more crushed it was, the less vintage the sound is. And
I mean, when you play the original, you do notice the dynamic range. It's not. I mean, you can probably see it here. This is the actual. What's going on? Let me zoom in here. Yeah. So this is the actual audio file of the original track, and you can see just how different the ranges in volume are.
And that dynamic range is brilliant, and also you can tell that it's not a very compressed track. They're not square waveforms.
No, it's not a brick wall.
No.
I mean, like if a modern sort of band were to have recorded something like this section here, for example, you'd be looking at a completely different looking sound wave. These signals here would be all the way up here to create a block, and it just even. I mean, it does even out the track, and it does make everything one level, so you don't have to keep chasing the volume control on whatever you're playing it on. But it takes away from some of the feeling you get from it. The whole purpose of the recording is so. I mean, dynamic range in terms of older songs, you would be chasing the fader because they use the difference in volumes to create some emotion in the actual track. Yep. But yeah, I go off tangent.
We do.
Yeah.
So essentially, that's everything covered. Again, as far as compression is concerned, we did run certain things through an outboard compressor. In fact, a Joe Meek compressor, nonetheless.
The bass we did, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Yeah. In fact, that was post recording. We recorded the bass again. I think we DI'd the bass, and then after it was recorded, we ran it onto the desk and out through the desk and back through the Meek. It's not even back through the Meek compressor.
Back in to re-record it onto Logic.
And there it is.
That was the old one. This is the newer one here. Yeah, I think
that just about
that covers everything.
Yeah. Tells
All right.
the tale.
Yeah, thank you very much.